Okay, there we go. All right, well, good evening, everybody. It's good to see so many faces or letters in little round colorful circles in front of me. Feel free to turn your camera on if you want to, but no pressure there, of course. So this is the first town hall meeting we're going to have. We will have several in the weeks ahead to talk about reopening into the hybrid model. And our meetings will be on Tuesday evenings, this same time, and we'll continue those for the next several weeks at least, until we get started in hybrid, and maybe a little bit after that. Hello, Paige and Kellen. You know, it's kind of hard to believe. A couple of us were talking out here earlier today, and we're bringing back K-5 kids the second week of March, and that's when they will begin their hybrid schedule. And we'll talk about those dates here a little bit later, but that will be a week short of doing this for a full year. And hadn't stopped to think about that for a while, but 1 week short of a full year. And so first of all, thank you all, parents and teachers and staff who are here, for hanging in there so well through a lot of adversity and challenges over the past year. And we're glad you're still with us. And we so look forward to seeing your kids here in the hybrid model. I know, 2 days a week is not ideal for school, but it's what we have right now. And I'll tell you this, it's sure going to be a lot better than distance learning only. So we look forward to it. For the past couple of weeks, we have seen 116 Bobcats here at school on campus every week. So about half of our total enrollment right now. And we see them for 2 hours at a time. And so to be able to see them for 2 days at a time will make a big difference for us and for them, and we hope for you, parents, as well. Over the last week, we contacted everybody. We left a few messages, but we made contacts with every Butte Creek family to let you tell us what your kids are going to do. Are they going to return to school in hybrid, or will they stay in distance learning? Because those are absolutely both options for you based on your family decisions. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what the difference is quickly between staying in distance learning, and you all are very familiar with it, so we sure won't belabor it, but there are a couple of points to talk about, and then we'll move on more to the hybrid model, which most of you are interested in, of course. We have 210 students that will be returning to campus right now. That's our number right now. That could grow by a couple more. It could decrease by a couple more, but 210 is our number, and 16 students, their parents chose to keep them in distance learning. So those are our enrollments right now. For distance learning, it's going to look a lot like what we've been doing. You're going to have synchronous time, live times on screen on Google Meets with a teacher, and then you'll be doing work on your own as well, as assigned by the teacher. But that teacher will almost certainly be different for the folks that chose distance learning, because to my knowledge, all of our Butte Creek teachers and staff are returning and will be teaching our kids here on campus. So who will teach the 16 Butte Creek kids who chose to remain in distance learning. The district is working on that right now, and they will identify, either hire or reassign possibly an amount of teachers at certain grade levels or maybe grade bands, who will then be those children's teachers for the rest of the school year. And so it will not be a Butte Creek teacher, but a Silver Falls teacher, and they will take good care of those kids for the rest of the school year. For those of us, those of you that are going to return to campus, you already know a lot of this, so some of it's just very much review. And I would like, if you have questions, you can save them till the end, but also feel free to pop them into the chat box or turn your mic on. We've got Mrs. Kinsey and Mrs. Cortez are here, as well as a lot of Butte Creek staff members tonight, but they're going to help me kind of monitor that chat so that we don't forget about anybody. And make sure we try to get all questions answered. If I don't have the answer for you tonight, I will make sure I have it for the next meeting. Students are going to be here 2 full days a week on campus for regular full days of school, and our school hours at Butte Creek will be what they typically are in a regular school year, 8:30 to 3, and what they have been in distance learning as well. We're going to divide the 210 students that will be returning into A and B cohorts. We've done that today. We have a few adjustments to make to try to balance out each of our classrooms as evenly as possible. They don't have to be exactly even, but to balance them out both for instructional reasons and space reasons in the classroom. So that's important for us to do. And so we should have that finished tomorrow so that we can get those names to Durham School Services. That's the bus company. So they can start putting routes together and have those ready for the first week in March. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, that first week in March, because we've been saying the second week, the week of March 8th, but we're going to talk about orientation week tonight and what our plan for orientation is for K-5, and then again for the 6-8 kids 2 weeks after that. So hang on for a minute for that. But kids will be here Tuesday and Thursday for A cohort and Wednesdays and Fridays for the B cohort. Mondays will be very much like Mondays have been in distance learning. A possible live class or for a short meeting, but then students are working on their own. Teachers would have office hours, prep and planning time, staff meetings, team meetings, you name it, will all occur on Mondays, so that Tuesday through Friday are dedicated to instruction. We can focus only on your kids. So, on any given day, we should have around 100 to 105 students here. So in a school built for 325 students, it will feel pretty spacious, a little empty at times, I suppose, but that will help us with movement, with the spacing that we need to have per ODE and OHA through the Ready School Safe Learners document. How we got to those cohort splits, as you also know, students with last names starting with A through K make up the A cohort, and L through Z make up the B cohort. And at Butte Creek, as well as the way I hear it from the other principals, kind of around the district, the A to K group is fairly well represented in all of our schools, quite heavily weighted to the A cohort. So today, as the teachers, our teachers and I spoke, we had about 17 or 18 A students that we're trying to switch over into B cohorts so that we can level things out, and only 2 students to move from a B into the A in one of our classrooms. So pretty heavily A. So we're trying to even those out right now. We'll get that done. We talked about school hours, 8:30 to 3. You know, there's 3 things that we're just going to keep repeating and repeating and repeating in these meetings, in letters that go out, in a video that we're putting together that will help everybody kind of see what our procedures will be, and reminders to kids all the time. This is simple, people. It is extremely simple. The Ready School Safe Learner document is 90 pages long. Our blueprint is 20 pages or so, full of information and technical details and process and all of that stuff. But really, you know, that coming back to school, it's going to come down to 3 things that your kids need to know and 3 things they need to work on. So the more they work on it ahead of time, the better things are going to be. But I can tell you from the Lippy kids that have been coming in, over 100 kids, they know how to do this stuff. The COVID safety, the precautions, and it comes down to masks, distancing, and hand washing. Those are the 3 things your kids need to have on their minds for safety at school. That's just 3 things. It's pretty easy. We've seen kindergartners all the way up to 8th graders be able to handle the masks with very few problems at all. The distancing, well, it gets to be a challenge because kids come together, they're like magnets. They just want to be close to one another, talk and visit and all that. So it's going to take reminders, but we have a lot of patience for that. We will remind them as much as we need to, and but they'll be able to do it. You know, Rebecca and Christy with the kindergartners and Sherry with the 1st graders, they've got a whole lot of creative ways they've been teaching the kids to practice that distancing and kind of stay, you know, 6 feet apart. And they're doing great with it. We've seen it, so we know it works. So those are the things to be training your kids up on, giving them support over the next few weeks, practice if they need it. Mask, distancing, hand washing. We're going to wash our hands all day long here at school. We have sanitation stands, you know, the little automated ones at every single entry. And every time kids come into the school or go out of the school, out to recess, before and after, they take a little hit off the sanitizer machine, and or in the bathroom or the classroom sink with soap and water. But keeping the hands clean is going to be taught and reinforced and retaught all day long around here. So, but those are the 3 big things. That's not an awful lot of things to have to keep in mind. One thing that's going to be a challenge, and it's a challenge for us, and it will be a challenge for you, is the rules call for only essential visitors in the school. And, you know, please accept apologies ahead of time, because we love having our parents and volunteers and classroom helpers, visitors for assemblies on campus with us. But we're not going to be able to do that in this hybrid model. When kids arrive at school, that you'll drop them off in the morning, and staff will be out there to help them get to class. And in the afternoon, you'll pick them up and we'll walk them right out to you if they're not getting on the bus. But in between, we're not going to be able to have our doors open like we normally would. So hopefully that's something we can wait on for next year and get back to normal. But again, from what we've learned from the limited in-person instruction, that's been going all right too. Everybody is handling it, and that's kind of a Butte Creek hallmark, if you ask me. I've been out here 15 years. Rebecca's been here longer. Others on the call, Miss Scott's been here longer than that. It's a Butte Creek thing, though. We handle things, we take care of business, and we're going to get the job done, just like we will in hybrid, and we always have. And that's kind of the spirit out here. Arrival and dismissal, it's going to look a little different. And we're still cleaning up a few last details. And, we're going to have a lot of communication out to you guys in written form on our website, in these meetings to teach you what you need to know for our new practices. And so for one thing, we're going to move the bus. School buses are going to move over kind of more in front of my office and the flagpole, so that we can keep the gravel parking lot on the north end free for cars. And so all the drop off in the morning and pick up after school will take place in the north gravel parking lot. And so that's a change. That's not really necessarily the way we've done things, especially with drop off in the morning time. Also, we would have kids in the building here at 7:15, 7:20. If parents had to get an early start to get to work, we're here. They can come in here and hang out until recess is open. For the rest of this year, we are not going to be able to have recess like we normally would, just out on the playground before school. So we're going to look to begin drop off and bus arrivals at about 8:15 each morning. And that should give enough time for the kids who need to eat breakfast here at school to come in and get their breakfast and eat it, sit down in the classroom and eat it. That's where meals will be eaten at this time as far as our process. We've looked a little bit at the cafeteria, but as of right now, we're going to be eating breakfast for those kids that will eat here at school, and lunch in the classrooms. Yes, Jennifer, thank you for that question. All meals are free for the rest of this school year. It doesn't matter if you've turned in the application for free and reduced meals or not. They're free for everybody throughout the rest of the school year. And, that's, while we're talking about meals, it would be a good time to mention the district's meal plan. For when the kids are here on their on days, Tuesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Friday, of course, we'll have breakfast for them and lunch for them, just like we would during regular school year. But then when they go home, they won't be here the next day. And so they will take home with them bags of food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now is a new thing for the next day. So but you don't have to take that. So we'll be kind of surveying the parents in each class and to figure out which kids will be taking the meals home and which will not each day, so that we don't waste anything. But clearly, anybody who wants the district meals can take those every day. So they'll either have food to eat here or have food to eat at home. PE and recess time. The school days are going to look a little bit different. Schedules are going to be somewhat different. We won't have K4. Well, this year it's K5 kids together at like the 10 o'clock-ish recess time, which it used to be all those kids in the past. And to be able to use the recess playground, the recess structures outdoors, we're going to stagger those recesses. So it will look something like possibly K2 outside together, followed by 3rd through 5th grade, followed by middle school kids. And to cohort the recess groups that way allows us to utilize our whole playground without having to zone off sections and like keep a classroom in one section. That would be very difficult to do and pretty tough on the kids too, when they're wanting to get up on that big, beautiful play structure, but it's not their day to use that. That will not be a thing with our plan, and we're super happy about that, because I kind of felt that way back in the summer when we started the blueprint process. And so, you know, it's a little bit different on the recesses, meals in the classroom. So that will be a different thing for us here. But we're trying to keep the same elements in the school day that we normally would have, even though they might look a little different. One of those is PE. One thing we've been very proud of over the last 8 years now is that every child at Butte Creek has PE class every day. It doesn't matter if they're kindergarten or 8th grade. And oftentimes those are 40, 45-minute periods, even for the young kids, but 30 at the least for the young ones. We are still going to have PE. That is going to be a for sure. Kids will move to PE class. Obviously, you know, our K-5 kids are self-contained, so they pretty much stay in their classroom anyway. Our middle school kids will stay in their classroom. The teachers will rotate to them instead of the kids getting up and rotating to the teachers, so that we can keep the classrooms clean, disinfected, and keep the cohorts as stable in each classroom as possible. But PE will be the exception. The kids will travel to the cafeteria for K-5 PE, or the gym for middle school PE, and our teachers will use the outdoor spaces here whenever they can. Locker rooms will not be used, so we will ask kids to, and this is something we'll put out there. We'll advertise this, remind to ask kids to come to school kind of dressed for activity each day, because they will have PE every day they're here. And so to you know, come with some decent shoes on, you know, sweats or whatever on the bottom, and something loose, t-shirt, sweatshirt on the top, so that you can be active in it. That's going to be important, because we won't use the locker rooms. Now, primary doesn't dress down for PE, but our middle school do every day. And so they'll come to school already dressed for PE. And they'll also come dressed warm. That's something that, you know, we have pretty good heating and all that out here at Butte Creek for an older building. Works pretty well, keeps us warm when we need to be. But we're going to have a lot of doors and windows open, not front doors facing the parking lot for safety reasons, but other exterior doors as we're able to, and lots of windows open to provide ventilation and to help with that. The district did a ventilation study. We've got the results of that. They have labeled several areas in our school that aren't maybe the best ventilated, for air purifiers that will be placed in those rooms to move the air and clean it. So that's already been done, and our district maintenance is right on top of that. Our district nurses, as far as all the health protocols, they've been a hardworking group this year for sure. Okay, so looking at the agenda here, I think maybe I should scroll down a little bit. Sorry about that. I think we've covered most things in that section right there. Schedules and other details are in progress and will be shared, that's for sure. Working on things like our middle school schedule, which will be similar to usual normal years, but it'll have some changes to it. So PE schedules, recess schedules, all of those things coming soon. We have any questions that are waiting to be answered? No? Okay. All right. So I want to talk about some dates here with everybody. You've seen these have come out a couple times on Parent Square, but I just wanted to kind of go through them and there was one question that came my way Friday, so I've got that on the next page too that I'll share with everybody. February 19th is going to be the last day for the K-5 Lippy classes around the district, so not just at Butte Creek. So that will be the last day that those kids will come for 2 hours of instruction. And however, their distance learning classes, the classes they attend every day online right now with their teachers, those will continue. Those will continue right up to the day we start hybrid. So that was the question that came from one of our parents on Friday last week was, once Lippy ends, does just nothing happen, for a while until we go to hybrid? And the answer is no. We will still continue with the regular distance learning schedule, the live meets and all of that, right up till hybrid. So on the week of March 1st is the week before hybrid is set to begin. So the first day of hybrid instruction will be Tuesday, March 9th for our A cohort. But in the week prior to that, the district has set aside orientation week, is what they're calling this, and schools can do whatever they feel is the best fit for their school community to help get kids and families ready to come back to school smoothly. And so what we're going to do, along with I think most of the other K-8 schools in the district, is we're going to have 2 orientation days during the K-5 week. One day for the A group and one day for the B group. And so those would take place on Wednesday and Thursday, March 3rd and 4th. March 3rd being a Wednesday, that's a B cohort day. They would come on Wednesdays and Fridays. And Thursday, the 4th, would be cohort A's day. And so for those 2 days, we're not going to be really doing academic instruction. So, math and reading and writing will wait till the following week. But we will be doing a lot of orientation in the building because we have a lot of students at Butte Creek who are new to the school, in addition to our kindergarten kids. And those kids have had the chance to come in very few times, the kinder kids, but we have some students here who have never set foot in our building at this point in the school year. And so a good part of that orientation time will be getting our new kids used to, where things are and how to get from one point to another and what our school rules are. So that'll be a good part of the day. Teachers can talk about, their classrooms and their rules, their procedures. Middle school kids will see each of their content area teachers on that day that they're here. But in addition to all of that stuff, the greatest part of that day is just the kids will get to socialize with one another. Appropriately distanced, of course, but they will socialize, they'll visit, and they'll just talk and have some fun on those days. Buses will roll just like they would on a regular school day. This is going to be, for all intents and purposes, absolutely the same schedule will follow every day. And so it kind of a practice run, a soft start, and a chance for us to see your kids another day on top of the hybrid start. So we're looking forward to that, and we'll get more details out for you all over the next couple of weeks. But that's orientation for K-5, and we will be doing the same thing then for the middle school on the week of March 15th to the 19th. Middle school Lippy classes will continue for the next couple of weeks after K-5 Lippy has stopped. So the older kids will keep coming for their 2 hours, a couple days a week. And then the week of March 8th, we mentioned hybrid instruction begins. And that week right before spring break, the 15th to the 19th, that's our middle school orientation time. And we decided it would be much better to be doing these on a Wednesday and a Thursday instead of the Friday right before spring break. And so that kind of started the ball rolling and included K-5 to be doing these on Wednesday, Thursday, which also has the benefit of allowing us as staff, who will all be here in person all of those days, to have kind of a day in between orientation to maybe iron out any wrinkles that we need to before hybrid starts the next week. So it's going to be a valuable time, and we're looking forward to it. A little bit about the operational blueprint. This is a term that you might have heard of or you may not have. Every school, not just district, but every school in the state of Oregon is required to prepare an operational blueprint for returning in person. And we had a tremendous group of 30 people here on our Butte Creek team. We had teachers, we had classified staff, we had students, and we had parents, 30 people, and plus our school nurse and myself. And we met several times in July and put together the first version of this blueprint. Well, the state has, added some things over the course of the last 10 months or so. And so we had revisions to make. And so our group came together over the last 2 weeks to kind of touch things up a little bit and make the changes necessary to have our blueprint updated. And the blueprint, it covers a lot of school specific things, but it also covers, really mostly state mandated, local mandates, county health departments, rules and procedures that all need to be followed, all need to be in place. And so we've got that done. The school is a safe place to be, thanks to our nurses, our maintenance department, our custodians here at Butte Creek, our staff who are here working every day, cleaning up as they go. It's been a total team effort, and we're ready for kids as a result. So between the blueprint and the practical experience of LIPI classes, those two things have got us set up to be successful in hybrid. Let's see. Let me check the, I'll scroll down here just a bit. We've talked about those big three things: distancing, face covers, and hand hygiene. The rest of these safety precautions and key practices are kind of your big general areas broken down. So in addition to those three that the kids need to just really live by every day here, the others are maximizing airflow and ventilation, which I mentioned a little bit ago, and we're set up for that thanks to our maintenance folks. Cleaning and disinfecting is an everybody job. There are things that the kids will be allowed to help us clean. It just depends on the cleaning product. We're not going to put anything unsafe in their hands, but sanitizing wipes and things like that, they will help keep their areas clean in the classroom. Our teachers, staff, all of us will be cleaning as needed to help out our custodians, who will be doing the real heavy lifting all around the school. They will clean and disinfect on top of what we as a staff clean and disinfect every day. Small and stable cohorts is key. That's really why we're divided into AB and AB cohorts, is to increase the space, let people spread out a little bit, and be a little safer that way. And we've kept those cohorts small. We're not going to have our single class largest cohort is going to be 12 students. And our smallest will be 6. Well, I take that back. One of our smallest will be 5 students. So at any given time in any classroom at Butte Creek, you will see either from 5 students up to 12. And so that's going to help with the distancing for sure, the supervision, the teaching and reteaching, and just keeping everybody on the same page going forward here. Personal protective equipment, as indicated. And then finally, isolate and quarantine as indicated. And so we have our sick room here in the office, for example, has been pretty much revised and changed to allow for, if a student or staff become ill at school, and we need to kind of keep them apart until they can get a ride home, get picked up. And so we're set up for that, thanks to our nurses who have kind of guided us through that process. But there's going to be a big part of this that you guys play at home, and that is not sending your kid to school if they're ill, if they're sick. Right now we need to keep them home. And I know that, again, that kind of country spirit we have out here at Butte Creek, we're going to push through. Whether you're a student or a staff member here, you wake up not feeling so well, you're going to shrug it off, push it through, and come get the job done. But this year, for right now, we need to be a little bit more mindful of where we're going if we're showing any of the symptoms of COVID, and it's just going to be a better call to stay at home in those cases, so that we don't have to shut down a classroom if we had a classroom exposed. There's a chance, depending on the circumstances, that that classroom cohort would need to stay home for the next 2 weeks of school, and we really don't want to get there. So we need to take all the precautions we can, keep everybody safe and healthy all the time, and that starts with stay home if you're sick. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
sorry. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Eliza.
Hello.
Hi. I just wanted to know, what would our responsibility be if we knew that someone in our family was exposed to somebody who was sick, but we were not necessarily symptomatic?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I would say what we've seen so far is what I would ask everybody to do going forward, because our parents have been nothing short of fantastic communicators with us through Lippy, and that means they give us a call. They give us a call whenever they find something. If there's been a possible exposure, even several degrees away, we've had parents calling to let us know, staff members letting us know, students kept home from Lippy classes, because they wake up with a cough or other symptoms. And so I can't say enough about how well people have done in being upfront and helping us. So Eliza, that would be the expectation, would be let us know, please, and we'll run it down from there. Because here's how it goes: whenever we get a notification, a student is ill, a staff member's spouse was over at their brother's the other day, and he tested positive later, things like that. There's everything you could imagine out there. So every time one of these comes up, it's different. And the first thing we do then is we call our nurse liaison here, either Suella Nida, Emily Ward, Leslie Kuhn, and they take it from there. Then what they do is they reach out to the family, to the adult, the parent, and they talk through the situation to gather all the data and information they can, and then to make a plan from there, to advise the person. Do they need to stay home for a certain amount of days, depending on the time frame? Are they good to come to school now if there's no symptoms? We've seen all of that. And so that's our process, and it has worked great so far for us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So I didn't have any more questions come in ahead of time. So I think you guys at this point, I would open up for any questions you have, and Butte Creek staff, if any of you guys want to offer up anything, maybe something I've left out, feel free. You guys have been right in the middle of this. And so I would love any input you want to share as well.
Hi, Mr. Palmer. This is Nika Shadrin. I just kind of have a question about the buses. My kids have been going Wednesdays and Fridays, and the first week was fine. Like the buses were close to on time, but the last week it's been kind of difficult. And some parents work and try to get out there when the bus comes, and I know they're under tremendous stress and trying to do their best. But do you know what the bus situation will look like, if it'll get any better?
Yeah, I feel that, Nika, for sure. I agree with that 100%. The first week and the second week we've had some rough spots. And you are right too. They are under tremendous pressure at Durham. They're working really with a skeleton crew in there. Their general manager had retired in November, so they've been without a leader at the local office since then. And like I said, a skeleton crew in the office dealing with their own. There've been some illnesses too, but also the biggest problem of all right now with the bus company is there's not enough drivers. And so this is an odd setting, I think, for maybe a public service announcement. But folks, if you know anybody that wants a career in school bus driving, or even a good temporary job for a while, if they love kids and have a good driving record, send them down to the Durham office. I mean, I'm totally serious. They are hurting for drivers. About a week or two ago, they told us they normally would have 45 drivers on hand, ready to go right now at that time of the year. 2 weeks ago, they had 20. And those folks have been trying to cover all the Lippy classes, and you look at that schedule with all of our district schools doing different things for Lippy on different schedules. It's crazy to put all those routes together. And all that said, the goal, Nika, is that absolutely things will be straightened out quite a bit more to get into hybrid. And here's how I think that'll happen. We have our names ready to go right now. Susan in our office just got this off the press this afternoon to me, and the only thing it's waiting on is the cohorts, so that we send Durham the right kids' names for A and B days. But we're going to send those to them tomorrow, and if we still have a few to add or clean up, we'll do that. But they're going to have our kids' names and addresses that need the bus ride. They're going to have it tomorrow, and that's going to give them 3 weeks to prepare those routes. And we're going to be out there timing things and driving things and everything we can do to help them, kind of give them a hand in this, to make sure that those buses are running correctly and on time for everybody. Because I know it's frustrating. You know, you get out there and you're waiting and it's not there, you know. And I know you guys have responsibilities, jobs, and things you need to do. And so it's going to be better than it was during the Lippy. I'm gonna tell you that right now, because everybody's going to have time to put these routes into place over the next 3 weeks, and that should be plenty.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But really, folks, dead serious here. If you know somebody that wouldn't mind driving a school bus, send them in. Have them get a hold of me or Durham or somebody. And the same thing goes for custodial maintenance. Those are areas that are always in short supply of good people. And I know the district right now is hiring custodial maintenance staff so that all of our buildings have additional people. At Butte Creek, we have always had an 8-hour custodian and a 4-hour custodian. And they're going to add another 4 hours out here. So we'll have 3 different people and a custodian here virtually every minute of the day that kids and staff are here as well, which is going to help us a lot, keep things clean. But those are 2 areas that are really looking for good workers right now. So if you know somebody, please send them on. And yes, Sarah Beyer, I agree. Drivers who know the area, that'd be beautiful. Jennifer, let's see if we have to make a change on whether or not we need a bus. Oh yeah, just our office. Yep, just give us a call. Me, Susan, or Sheila. Any of us. We'll take care of that. What other questions do we have, folks? I'm trying to think of what I left out, and certainly I did. There's a lot to put in, and so you know, through the blueprint process back in July, and then carrying on here recently, what got us through that process and built us a plan was the questions that everybody asked. We had lists and pages of shared Google documents full of questions, and answering those questions developed our plan for us. So that's what we need. We need the good questions here. Special ed services being provided during hybrid. Yes, special ed, ELD, Title I services, all of that will be provided in hybrid. We're working on our plan here as far as pull-out services to look at what we can do. And so, you know, you hear that really it's best to keep everybody in one spot and things like that. But there are just some services that don't go real well, you know, in a classroom in front of other kids and that sort of thing, that would be better provided in a smaller group or a pull-out setting or a one-to-one. And I think that there are going to be ways that we can provide spaces for multiple cohorts to use during the day, that we can also keep ventilated, cleaned, disinfected, distanced by some good planning. And so that's kind of the direction we're heading, is far more on the pull-out type of thing than pushing in. Any other questions on your mind? I know sometimes, you know, I don't like asking things in front of groups of people either. So I'll wait till you don't do it, ask it in private or whatever, which you guys can sure do.
Hi, Mr. Palmer. This is Shannon Fritz. How are you this evening?
I'm good, Shannon.
Good. So I apologize. I came into the meeting a little late, so I didn't know if maybe you guys had covered this in the first half hour, but is there a plan for like moving the children around the building? So lunchtime, are they going to be eating in their classroom? Are they going to get any PE time or outdoor time?
Absolutely, all of the above. There's a plan for moving people around. Oops, I'm echoing somewhere.
Let me turn my mic off here.
There's a plan for all of that. Moving kids around the school. Let me show you guys something. We're going to start decorating soon here. And these are samples. It's hard to tell from these, but these are a nice vinyl product that stick on our floors, our walls. These are made by Butte Creek parent Randy Maxwell for us. And he has a business with this stuff. It's a vinyl. They'll be all over the place. We'll have paw prints down the middle of every hallway. That will be 6 feet apart. We will have Butte Creek colored arrows pointing in the directions the kids are supposed to walk. Every hallway at Butte Creek is going to be really, in effect, a 2-lane road. So you read and see maybe on the news and whatnot that you know, it's great to have one-way walking, but you know, you guys, one-way hallways do not work in this school. They work in some schools, but they don't work for us here. So every hallway will be a 2-lane. You know, stay to the right, just like when you're driving your car. So that should be real easy. There will be reminders everywhere. Kids just need to follow the arrows and follow the bobcat paws to keep their distance, and with lots of reminders and guidance from staff. Meals. Shannon, those are going to be eaten in classrooms. So like for lunch, typically, depending on what it is, we might be able to make deliveries, if it's just a bag lunch that day or whatever, to the rooms. But also teachers would be able to lead their kids over to the cafeteria. The salad bar and those things will not be out like normal. So most of the food will be like pre-trayed or pre-bagged, and the kids will pick it up and then just return back to their classrooms. And they'll sit and eat. They can take their masks off while they're doing so, but they'll eat at their desks. And recess time will exist for sure. Kids have to have a lot of outside time and a lot of play time here, and they will for the same amounts of time, if not more, than we would normally have during a regular day. And I think you asked maybe about PE also, Shannon. Every day that students are here, they will have PE every single day through all grades. Were there other specifics? I think that covered a lot of what you were asking, but maybe I missed something.
No, you got everything that I had asked. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Palmer, this is Amarita Anstedt, and I think I understood what you're saying about the 2 weeks between the Lippy and the hybrid, but the virtual online school will be continuing during that time frame. Is that correct?
Yeah, like what the kids have. So when Jaden is on her regular times with Mrs. Thompson, those will continue after Lippy ends. So your first grade at 9 a.m. and that sort of thing, just like we have been doing all year. And then there's the kids in the Fox Online, and that's a separate thing. Was that what you were asking, Amarita?
Yeah, it is. It just from the
Okay.
schedule that we got on the email, it looked like there was they were learning on their own during that term, those 2 weeks, and so I was confused.
Gotcha. And I think that goes to what the dad that emailed me Friday night, that was the question he asked too. So I don't think I was very clear about how I listed that. But yeah, so even though the Lippy 2-hour classes will stop on the 19th, the daily class meetings will continue until we start hybrid. So there won't be any stop there. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Teacher, yes. Yes, Linda. Yes.
There was a question about the advanced math and the middle school students once they come back. Maybe Mr. Usselman can respond to that.
Oh, Mr. Usselman is with us here. They will be doing their advanced math, whether or not they will be online while they're at school. Yeah, that would be a Mr. Usselman question for sure. So if you want to, Mr. Usselman, you can talk to that now, or we'll save that for next time, and you can reach out to your advanced math kids and their parents.
No, I can talk to it now. I don't have a working camera, but that's fine. However, I didn't have the chat window up. The question was, what specifically?
For the kids in high school math, so if you're algebra kids, will they be getting online while they're here at school?
Yeah, typically like in normal classroom times, they would go back to the iMacs that I have in the classroom, and they would just get onto their connection with Mr. Steers there and continue to get his instructions and his assignments and stuff like that. Whichever room we've got them in, we can make sure that they can connect to Mr. Steers' stuff and still do that. And then again, when I get to rotate to their class, I can still help them out if they need any help with that Mr. Steers algebra stuff.
What other questions do we have tonight, folks? Well, the online, Jennifer, we'll be talking about Monday, like maybe class meetings and stuff like that. But there's some there's some decisions that need to be made around Mondays. But that would be it. Not the regular Tuesday through Friday at all. And yeah, assignments to work on. That's, I think, how most will do it. Any of the teachers here are welcome to turn their mic on and maybe talk about what their plans are. But yeah, in general, here you are, and then you go home for the off day. You're working on your assignments, practicing at home, bringing that back, ready to go the next day.
Have you guys figured out if you're gonna have to hire many more teachers to do the hybrid, or are the kids gonna be able to maintain the same teachers for the most part?
Yeah, we won't need to be hiring any new teachers here at Butte Creek, because we've got all that covered. So our primary teachers will see their kids, same ones that have been online with them, all year long, and the middle school staff are all in place. And a difference in the middle school I should have mentioned is each student will see each of their teachers for each of their content area classes every day. And right now it's kind of on a Tuesday, Thursday. You have 3 periods a day on Tuesday, another 3 on Wednesday, like that. So yeah, we don't anticipate hiring any new staff this year at Butte Creek, but the district will need to be either hiring or identifying or assigning some teachers to provide the ongoing distance learning to those who chose to stay there. The silence gets deafening sometimes. That is one thing I will not miss about distance learning and Google Meets and all that, let me tell you. Well, okay, folks, I am not one to want to belabor a point. So if we are done with questions and discussion, then we're done with the meeting. We'll have another one next week. If there's something you want to hang around and ask me, when the crowd thins out here a little bit, I'll hang for a bit. Call me at school, drop by, we'll distance and talk about it. Send me an email, whatever's easiest. Appreciate you guys being here. Yeah, Stacy, sports are out for now. Jeff Seiler and I had a chat today about that very topic, and I know there's some schools that are maybe wanting to get some sports going, some of the private schools or whatnot in the area, but we're not at that point really to put any plans in place. One thing we are going to be planning for, however, for the middle school kids would be the Monitor Invitational Track Meet in May, which we have done for the last 30 years or so, except for this last spring. And that would be for all the K-8 school 6th through 8th grade students around the district. Kind of an all-comers track meet at the high school. And Mr. Seiler and I and the others that will plan that, we feel we can do that safely. We can get that done. So that is still on the table for sure. And if we're able to do anything else with, volleyball, basketball, we sure would, but it doesn't look good for those indoor sports. All right, guys. Thank you all for being here. It's 7:30, so we'll officially adjourn. You're welcome. Thank you guys too for the great questions and taking the time to be here tonight. It means a lot.
Sorry, I didn't mean to actually stay. I'm just driving and I forgot to get off. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
All right. It was a good meeting.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for being here.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
I was just I don't know if these guys have a question for you, Mr. Palmer, but I was just gonna ask you about did you see my email?
I did right before the meeting. Yeah, I did.
Sorry, that was bad timing, but I was like,
Yeah.
I had just seen that and I was.
Oh, no, it was fine. It was fine. I'm gonna hang on. I'm gonna stop the recording.